This semester, I wanted to do a photo project comparing and contrasting three neighborhoods in Hillsborough, North Carolina: downtown Hillsborough, Fairview, and Beckett's Ridge. I expected downtown Hillsborough to be filled with grandiose houses, and for my time in Fairview to give me insight into what it was like to live in a more modest home. However, I found it impossible at times to tell which neighborhood was which from just a photo, and in my search for something to differentiate each neighborhood, I was instead constantly drawn to the similarities between the two. In every neighborhood I visited, change was a constant. One gets the sense that despite the long history of Hillsborough, the community is always evolving, and that there isn't one specific thing that differentiates downtown from Fairview from Beckett's Ridge. I learned that childhood is universal, and that the wonder and spark in the eyes of a child never quite ceases to amaze. If you look hard enough, you can see that sparkle live on through the teen as he learns a new trick on his skateboard, in the joy of playing a simple game of pickup basketball, in the laugh of a mother who follows her son down the slide because growing up is overrated, and in the excitement of the first day of spring. I found that it wasn't where a family lived that dictated the story I would tell, because even families that lived in the same neighborhood were unique, and because the similarities among families in different neighborhoods were much stronger than their differences. I learned that it would be simplistic to choose one family as representative of their community, because every single family is different. Even the definition of family is fluid. For example, although not related, a group of children who live and play together on the same block act as much like brothers and sisters as many biological siblings that I know. As I continued to seek out families to photograph and heard each one's unique story, I realized that if I tried to photograph and get to know everyone, I would actually end up knowing no one. Which brings me to the Mayhew family. The Mayhews were the first family that I photographed, and I decided that I wanted to tell their story. The Mayhews live in Beckett's Ridge, a development community founded in 1999. Beckett's Ridge is only 5 minutes from downtown Hillsborough, but has the feel of suburbia. Meet Steve, Josh, Cameron, and Karen Mayhew. Steve grew up in Hillsborough, and the family moved into Beckett's Ridge in 2002. Steve works as a physical education teacher for Durham Public Schools and also teaches tennis. Cameron, who one day hopes to become a professional gymnast, is bursting with the energy, curiosity, and spunk that each parent hopes their child will possess. Josh, on the other hand, is focused beyond his years. As one of the top tennis players in the state, he understands the value of hard work. Karen Mayhew often works at night, so Steve does a lot of the day-to-day work that comes with raising two children. His positive attitude is infectious. He makes it seem like there is nothing he would rather be doing than grilling a steak and cutting it up into smaller, more manageable pieces for Josh and Karen. In many ways, having a father who works with kids for a living is a dream come true. Steve continually makes time to play with Josh and Cameron. He really hasn't lost much of the joy for life that I see in the eyes of his children as well. Steve continually encourages his children to play and explore. Josh and Cameron are typical siblings. A sizable snowball and trampoline make for a perfect impromptu snowball fight. Josh has a bit of a size advantage. The two children are a team, and although they probably wouldn't admit it, are each other's best friends. A typical Saturday afternoon is spent playing a bit of competitive tag. Not one to follow the rules, Josh brings some extra help in the form of a Nerf gun. Cameron somehow outruns Josh, and the two collapse on the living room floor, exhausted. It's not all fun and games, however, with the Mayhew clan. As a PE teacher, Steve understands the importance of exercise and sport. Josh works diligently with a coach to perfect his work on the rings. Cameron masters the basics with the help of a coach and a cushiony mat. She takes herself a bit less seriously than most kids. Life, after all, is all about fun. The kids often come with Steve when he teaches tennis clinics. And if you were to ask Steve and Josh their greatest passion, they would tell you that it's tennis. The family plays pretty much whenever they can. Cameron would rather explore the area around the tennis course than practice her backhand. Spending time with Cameron over the semester has recultivated my love of exploration and joy for life. We spend our time together picking flowers and making bouquets. Cameron picks a blade of grass, and a drop of water flies up and hits her in the face. I think it was the chlorophyll, she tells me. Really, spending time with the Mayhews and in Beckett's Ridge, I'm reminded of my own childhood. My father, like Steve, made a career out of the outdoors and was always willing to teach me a new skill. I see my younger self in Cameron and Josh, the carefree wonder and curiosity about the world around them. And as I reflect on my time in downtown Hillsboro, in Fairview, and with the Mayhews in Beckett's Ridge, and finally as I reminisce about my own childhood, it becomes abundantly clear. It's not so much about where you grow up as who you grow up with.